Hey everybody, it's J-Kenn, the Ordinary Average Guy, host of the Ordinary Average Guy podcast show, coming at you previously recorded from the Buxty Hootie Studios. And this is episode number 17. 17 episodes. Seems like just yesterday I had this crazy idea of making a podcast about nothing, really for nobody, and then just saying, well, it's for ordinary average people. And once you know it, 17 episodes later, I got a whopping tens and tens of people listening every single week, and I thank you all for that. Number 17. I was thinking about number 17, and I wanted to. I keep forgetting to do this every week, but I always want to say like episode number, you know, number uh, uh, episode number 12. Aaron Rodgers, yada yada yada. And I was trying to think of people that were number 17, and I'll be honest with you, I could not think of really any athletes that came to mind. I had to look it up. And Philip Rivers, Philip Rivers was on there, of course. You remember him. Um, and Don Meredith, quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys back in the '60s. Um, Green Bay Packers kicked his ass in the Ice Bowl. Don Meredith, and then I was reading up on him, and after he was done playing, he became an actor, and I wasn't I'm not too sure of how many football players become, quite a handful of them get into acting. But then I remembered the movie Naked Gun from the early '90s, mid '90s, early '90s. O.J. Simpson was in those movies, and that's just I'm starting off the episode just kind of chuckling to myself because those movies were so funny. That is me in a nutshell. Uh, Naked Gun. Those movies were the best. Speaking of numbers, so I was watching the Packer game this week, and they got was not a pretty game by any means. Minnesota Vikings came to Lambeau Field and brought home the W, took a W back to Minnesota, and for the last what was this week 4, and for the last 4 weeks in the preseason, and then in the preseason, I'm just kind of wondering why are the numbers? Speaking of numbers, I know this is not a new thing, but I'm really starting to get, maybe I'm a traditionalist or what, but um, the 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 Packers kicker, Braden Marvison, who missed 2 field goals, and looks like, I mean, God, I miss the Mason Crosby days. I miss him a lot. Mason Crosby. Those were the good old days when you knew, yeah, there's a good chance this is going to be this field goal is going to be good. But Braden's number is number 44, and I don't know about you, but that just drives me nuts. It's not college; it's the NFL. Why does he not have a normal kicker's number? Does anybody else ever think about stuff like that, or is that just a J-Kenn thing? I don't understand. And then the running back Josh Jacobs is number 8. I don't understand why they don't switch. Can someone ask me that? Can someone type me an email, jkennoag at outlook.com, and tell me why the NFL is, I would say in the last 10 years, they got so relaxed with numbers. Anyone can be any number now. And I with the exception to probably the offensive line. The offensive line, I think you still need to be, um, I want to say probably this in the '60s and the '70s defense, but like on the defense, you could probably, I think other than the offensive line, you can be like any number you want. Doesn't matter what position you are. Um, I don't know the exact rules on that, but I wish we would go back to the days of. I don't know why stuff like that drives me nuts, but it does. And maybe if they gave him a regular number, like a true kicker's number, he would actually start making some field goals. I don't know, but um, I have a I got a list of things I wanted to talk about, and that's just something I wanted to get off my chest for the last couple of weeks. But I have a list of things I wanted to talk about. So this week's episode, I don't have an actual topic. I have a list of topics that I want to talk about in the next coming weeks. But this week I didn't have like a particular topic. But I did write down, I'm not rambling here, ladies and gentlemen, but I do have written down some things that I wanted to talk about, if you will. Um, First things first. Last week I talked about budgets, and I had people actually, and I appreciate the kind words. I had people that responded to me and said, "Hey man, good episode on budgets," and I had a few people reach out to me looking for those spreadsheets, and that reminds me, I need to get them those spreadsheets. But I appreciated the fact that you actually took something away from that because I'm not a smart guy by any means, um, but whatever. I appreciate I could help you out. But there's one thing that I left off last week, not on purpose, just accident. I wanted to talk about it. But one quick thing. So this is one quick thing from last week. We talked about budgets and we talked about having these accounts to put money into. And this is going to be up for debate because I've talked to people about this and a lot of people disagree with me on this, but just hear me out. I am a married man, all right? Now, my wife and I have separate accounts, and I would urge you to do the same. But hear me out. You need to be disciplined. You have to take your money that you get, you need to divvy it up accordingly for your budget. Everything goes in those accounts, everything's accounted for. And then when you have money, the money that's remaining, you split between you and your wife 50-50. Half of it goes into her checking account, and half of it goes into your checking account. Now, why do I say this? Because when I want to buy something with my own money, I don't have to ask her. And I'm not, and it goes both ways. She buys stuff, and she doesn't have to ask me. See, when you have a joint account, you can't, like, if I want to go buy a new table saw, I can't just go buy a new table saw if we have a joint account. But if I have my own money and I save up and I save up and I save up, then I can buy whatever I want, and she can't say a goddamn thing about it. The exact opposite occurs when Amazon comes to our door 3 times a day. I can't say anything about it because it's her money. So that was one thing I wanted to talk about last week that I just forgot to say. But if you have, if you're married or have a partner, um, and you don't believe in marriage or whatever, I would tell you to have separate accounts also for you, for her, or him, or whatever, and that way you have you have your own money, man. You want to stop at the tavern after work, you can do that. You don't have to worry about her looking at your receipts and being, what? When did you get beer with Frank? And you can be like, none of your business, because I use my own money. So that was the first things first that I wanted to start off by saying that I missed out last week. And I was kicking myself all week because I missed out on that. That was that's one of my big tips. So let's cross that off the list. Um, Separate accounts, crossed off. Okay, next thing. Takeaways for this weight loss thing. If you're now, I've been talking about this probably every week about weight loss. Here's another little tip for you. I've been a yo-yo dieter my whole life, right? Who hasn't? You're always somebody. You're always on a diet, right? I mean, that's just the way life is. That's an ordinary average thing. You're always trying to lose weight. Um, and I have gotten the advice to weigh yourself, pick a day, pick a time, and weigh yourself at that time on that day. every single week to get a true, feeling for how you're doing, right? So if you pick Monday morning at 7 a.m., that's what you do. You weigh yourself every Monday at 7 a.m. I'm gonna tell you something. I tried something different, and um, and this also, these are actually kind of unordinary opinions, but I weigh myself now every single morning. Every morning when I get up. Now, if you're gonna do this, you have to tell yourself, hey, your weight's gonna fluctuate. It's crazy how much your weight can fluctuate. But I've been doing this now for the last couple of weeks, and it's been astonishing to me how it's been so helpful. And here's why. Here's a perfect example. Um, Last week, Thursday, I had a golf outing, right? I had a golf outing. I had to wine and dine some people, try to sell them some of my services. And and long story short, I got hammered drunk and ate a bunch of junk, and it wasn't healthy. Friday is Friday. Saturday, wouldn't you know it, I had another golf out. I golfed like 6 times in the summer, and 2 of them were last week. Saturday, I had another golf out. Wouldn't you know it, got all sorts of drunk and and ate all sorts of junk food, right? Just crap. And then on Sunday, I woke up and I felt like complete garbage, and I was uh, craving wings. I mean, wings are probably I, I, I can't I love them, and I would love to find a person who doesn't. But when you got a good little when you got a bender going, you know, wings just hits the spot. So I don't know if you live in the Northeast Wisconsin area. I don't know where, if you live somewhere. I doubt anyone's listening to this that doesn't live in the Northeast Wisconsin area, but we're fortunate enough that if you go to the grocery store, they have wings that you can buy and then just take them home, refrigerate them, and mow them down. And I did that on Sunday. Long story short, Monday morning, I gained like 10 pounds in like 6 days, right? So here's the thing. The what I did was is I'm like, all right, Ken dog, take it easy Monday, right? So I took it easy on Monday, right? And you could, I don't know if you would say I didn't starve myself, but like I've been eating chicken breasts like the grown-up style, and salads, and just eating healthy, drinking a lot of water, and and then I stepped on the scale Tuesday morning, lost 2 pounds. Did the same thing Wednesday, lost another 2 pounds. Once you know it, by the end of the week here, I lost that 10 pounds. Like that wasn't a true 10 pounds, so I lost it relatively easily. The thing is, if I never would have weighed myself, I might have just kept on eating garbage, right? Or and never would have known, and then eventually that 10 pounds turns into legit 10 pounds. So what I'm telling you here is if you're trying to lose weight, one thing that I have been doing and I think helps out a lot is that you should weigh yourself every single now weigh yourself in the morning, get out of bed, before you eat, before you drink, weigh yourself then, and then, hey man, holy shit, I gained a pound, right? Now you know. I gotta take it easy today. I gotta take it easy today. You get on the scale and you're down. Let's say you're down a couple pounds. Be like, hey, if you're trying to maintain weight, be like, hey, maybe I can go out to lunch with the guys today because I'm down a little bit. But you do that every single day. Now, when you do that, though, you have to remember when you do have a bad day or a bad week and you can't get upset about it, you just have to tell yourself, I'm gonna take it easy today. And when and believe me, if you do just take it easy, you get on the scale that following day, you're right back to where you were. So, if I can give you any advice on weight loss, which I'm usually not the guy to go to for advice on weight loss, but I've been noticing that that really does help, and it goes against the norm. It goes against the norm because everyone says you shouldn't weigh yourself every day, and the reason is because when you do gain a pound or two, and you're like, oh my god, I can't even gain a pound or two, and then you think you just throw in the towel. You do have to have that mindset, like, hey, don't throw in the towel. Just take it easy today. Okay, I'm telling you, if it's not easy to do, but if you can do it, it will help you out. So that's another little takeaway that I wanted to give you guys. So cross that off the list. um, oh, another thing I wanted to do on this podcast was I don't have any sponsors. Maybe someday I'll have a sponsor and I can start making some money off of this thing. But I wanted there's two things this week that two products that I really enjoy, and I want to and if you will do me the if you'll do me the honor here, I want to practice doing a sponsorship read. Uh, and, and these aren't real sponsors. I don't know if I'd actually maybe get in trouble. I wouldn't get in trouble for this. It's free advertising. First thing, this episode is unofficially brought to you by Sharpie. I recently got a Sharpie pen. I didn't even know that Sharpie made pens, but they do, and it's a gel pen, and it is the best pen that I have ever owned in my life up to this point, and I have been extremely happy with it. This thing writes like a dream. I can write anything I want. I can write I's, I can write J's. I'm doing it right now as I speak. I can write K's, and this thing just is perfect. It's beautiful, and it glides. It glides across the paper. You feel like you're William Shakespeare working on a play. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are in the market for a beautiful, lovely gel pen that doesn't smear, that's the issue with gel pens, is sometimes they smear on you. Because I love a good gel pen, but I don't like it when the gel sometimes builds up on the end of the pen and smears on you. You're not going to have that with Sharpie, let me tell you. Sharpie pens, the gel pen for not only the ordinary average guy, but for everyone. This pen changed changed the game in the pen market. Get yourself a Sharpie pen. Discount code J-Kenn 00. You get 0% off if you use the discount code J-Kenn. The next sponsor here is Roku. Roku. I don't know about you, but I lose my remote control all the time. Now, Roku has come out with something that has changed the way I watch TV. If you Roku has a button on the side of the box, and when you lose your remote control and you press that button, all of a sudden your remote control will start beeping, and you'll have 120 seconds to follow that beep. Marco Polo, Marco Polo, found ya. Find the remote control. Your kids get that remote control in the cushions. Did your kids put that remote control in the toilet? Well, if it's in the toilet, it might not be. Did your kids put that remote control in the toy room? You'll find it with Roku. How did that go? What do you guys think of those reads? Especially since I didn't have nothing to read and I just made it all up as I was going. See, guys, I'm telling you, if you want a good podcast here with a phenomenal a guy that, yeah, never mind. But I'm going to tell you about those two things. This Sharpie pen is phenomenal, and a buddy of mine at work had one, and I'm the kind of guy that when I go to work and I go to there's a room where I go to work. There's a room that has all the supplies, right? The office supplies. And I'm the kind of person that every time I go into that room, it's like I'm a kid on Christmas Day, right? Sticky pads, markers, pens, staples for my stapler, a stapler. One time I found a calculator in there, like a big, huge, big, nice desk calculator, and that was like winning the jackpot. And so when I saw my buddy having this Sharpie pen, I'm like, dude, can I borrow that pen? And I started writing with it. And I fell in love with it. And he told me, he says, J-Kenn, you could have that pen. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you shitting me right now? He said, no, you can have it. So I bought it. Then the other day I was at Festival Foods, and I was walking down the aisle, and I saw that they had them there, so I picked up 2 packs. I picked up a 2 pack of blue and a 2 pack of black. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I can go back to any other pen. This Sharpie pen, this Sharpie knows what they're doing, and they've been in the game a long time, and this pen is phenomenal. I remember the good old days of Sharpie markers back back in grade school. I mean, I'm guessing we've all sniffed a marker, but that I remember well, Sharpie markers are not toxic, but I don't know about you, but when I was in grade school, we had the markers that were old. They were the markers that were like in the metal canisters, and they had like the stripes on them, and those suckers were toxic. And I remember being like fifth grade, me and a buddy of mine were in some back room or whatever, just sniffing markers. Oh, sniffing markers like nobody's business, dude. Like nobody's business. And and Sharpie, I mean, it sucks that they're non-toxic because I could really use a good marker sniff. You know, when you're at work, sniff a good marker. Sharpie, if you're listening, why don't you send me a few markers, the toxic markers, if you don't mind. The Roku though. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because this week I've kind of like came to this like every year the coming to Jesus moment where like these two products have changed my life. This pen, for one, but also the Roku. We bought a Roku. We've had Rokus now for the last couple of years, obviously, but I would say, and this was probably like 6, 7 months ago, I went and bought a new Roku, and I didn't get the stick. I got like the actual, it's like a little box, and then it came with remote control. And if you press the button on the side of the box, it turns on the Roku, which automatically turns on your TV. Thing is if you press that button again, like let's say you lose your remote control, which we lose our remote control all the time. You press that button again, and then your remote control will start beeping, and then you can look around for it. And I don't know what it was about this particular week, but I couldn't find that remote control to save my life every single day. Where's the remote? Where's the remote? Where's the remote? You press that button, and you find the remote control literally probably in 20 seconds. You just follow that beep and you find it. So I would highly recommend if you're gonna be buying a Roku anytime soon, or you're a Roku person, get the good one, the one that has the remote control beep, because you will thank me. It is a phenomenal, um, it's a phenomenal product. So I just wanted to, I have a platform here. I'm on my soapbox here, and I'm trying to tell the world about these wonderful things. So why not cross that off the list? um, some bad news this week that I saw. Brett Favre, Parkinson's disease. Um, Nothing really funny about that. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. Brett Favre and I think I just said this last week, actually, maybe on the episode. I know I've said it before, but Brett Favre is my favorite athlete of all time, and he was doing a hearing or whatever for Congress, because he's in trouble or something. But anyway, he made a comment about that. He's been recently diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, which is a damn shame. Um, and I don't know. It's just unfortunate. Michael J. Fox has Parkinson's disease, obviously, and I was reading up about that because my son MJ is a big into he likes Back to the Future for some reason. He's only 5 years old and he loves Back to the Future, and so we're watching Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox, and I read up on him. He was diagnosed in 1991 with Parkinson's disease, and I was reading up on it, and that he finally retired acting, like legit, like I'm done acting in 2020. Now, obviously, he worked through the 90s. He was on Spin City. I guess what I'm getting at is I hope Favre has, I think he's in his 50s. So I hope he has a good, you know, 30 years left because, um, I don't know. I like him. I like Favre. I like staying up to date with him. I like seeing what he posts. I like seeing what I think he just came out. I thought he was coming out with a podcast of his own. He had one, and that went off the air because, you know, got canceled, cancel culture or whatever. But I don't know. That was just unfortunate. But apparently, it's the CTE or whatever. It's the concussions that he's kind of thinking that it came from. Michael J. Fox says that the reason he thinks he got Parkinson's disease is, I guess, because in the '80s, he, like all those child actors in the '80s, he partied on ungodly, partied hard, and drugs, booze, the whole deal, and he thinks it was a self-inflicted thing, and Favre's kind of saying the same thing. I think that concussion thing is something to, I mean, I'm not the first guy saying this, obviously, but that's the real deal, man. I look back on this week on Friday night. I stayed up till like 2:30 in the morning and watched that Mr. McMahon documentary on Netflix. I'm a big wrestling nerd, and I watched the first episode at like, and then I watched the second, and I binged it, and all of a sudden, I watched the whole goddamn thing. It was 2:30 in the morning, but obviously they talked about Chris Benoit on that Netflix documentary, and even if you're not a wrestling fan, I think you heard of Chris Benoit and what happened there, but which was also, I mean, it was terrible when that happened because I was a Benoit fan too. I like Chris Benoit. I thought he was cool. Um, as a wrestler. Um, he just was a cool wrestler. I thought he was Canadian. I have a soft spot in my heart for Canadians. Bret Hart obviously is my favorite wrestler. Rush is one of my favorite bands. I'm a big Neil Young fan. Pamela Anderson. but but in the documentary they were talking about concussions, and I guess they did study Chris Benoit's brain, and he had that CTE. Um, and the doctor said it was like the worst case he ever saw in his career. And just seeing how what he ended up doing, um, I don't know. It's just that, yeah. I mean, it makes you think. Like I got kids now, and I don't know, man. It's like I want them to. Do they? I don't know. That's that whole question. Do they play football? Do they not play football? Um, I don't know, man. I couldn't tell you. But that, your brain, dude, is such a God. You don't want to fuck that up. You really don't. And anyway, so thoughts and prayers to the Favre family. I hope well, he can't recover from Parkinson's, I guess, but it's hope he has a long life and can keep it under control. So, well, that was fun. That was fun talking about that. Let's uh, let's go over to our emails here. First, let's check Messenger once and see if we have any messages. You obviously can find me on Facebook at the Ordinary Average Guy podcast show, where you can leave me all sorts of emails. And I do not have any. Let's go to the old inbox. So you can also email me at jkennoag at outlook.com. And I do have a couple of emails, and it's actually some emails from people that have emailed before. First email from our buddy Lou. Lou's Sasshole. Whoa. Ooh. Hairy. Okay, this is from Lou. Hairy testicles sounds like a tight a-hole. Lou's Sasshole always tips. Sometimes more than just that, if you get my drift. Oh, Lou's got what the hell's? Oh, okay. So last week, let me see if I got that email. Hairy testicles last week talked about tipping. What did he say? Anyways, about tipping. Did you know that tipping was in news? Small wrestlers can afford to pay their rent. Now he's turned into another form. Yeah, he was all about. Um, also, he's also the one that gives the tip about never rounding up. So So it looks like Lou is not a. He thinks Harry. I hope you're listening, Harry, because Lou just called you out. Lou just called you out. Um, Harry Testigles sounds like a tight a-hole. Lou Sassel always tips, sometimes more than just that. If you get my drift. I'm telling you, Lou, I don't want to get in between you and Harry here, but I agreed with Harry. I'm not a big fan of tipping. I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, you do it because you have to, because you don't want to look like an a-hole, so you do it. But I I hope Harry's listening to this because I would really like to hear what Harry's got to say about this. Now, this is what I like to hear. This is what I like to see. This is what I like to see. Now we got some drama going on here. I love it. We got another email here from Jerry Jankowski. Oh, he emailed last week too. He emailed last week about the crinkle cut fries. He does not like crinkle cut fries. Let's see what he says here. The subject of the email is fry rake. Good evening. Your take on the fry question. Oh, your take on the fry question, sometimes referred to as the FQ, was spot on. Well, thank you very much, Jerry. I appreciate that. Waffle fries tower over the minuscule crinkle cut fry. It's well understood in the fry community that the current rank goes as follows. Oh, okay. Number one, skinny fries twice fried in duck fat. Okay. Number two, skinny fries fried in beef tallow. Tallow. What the fuck is tallow? Am I an idiot here? Do I not know what the hell? Should I know what that is? Tallow. Tallow. Beef tallow is a rendered form of beef or mutton suet. It's a white substance that's solid at room temperature. Tallow is made by removing, simmering, and clarifying the fatty tissue that surrounds. Oh, I got it. Make it a little bigger. I'm solid material remaining in the soap and okay, so that's what tallow is. I'm not gonna lie to you, Jerry. I have to give this a shot because I've never made fries in duck fat or beef tallow. But if, man, you're saying they're number one and two. So number one, skinny fries twice fried in duck fat. Number two, skinny fries fried in beef tallow. Number three, waffle seasoned. Oh, waffle fries. Oh, so it's like a tie for third place. Waffle fries and seasoned curly fries. Now, okay, I forgot about curly fries last week. Yes, dude. Yes, curly fries are phenomenal. Um, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm going third place waffles, and then I'm gonna go fourth place curly fries. The thing about curly fries, I love them. I love them to death. But I kind of have the same beef with them that I do crinkle cut fries, where they do fall apart kind of easily, and then they get all mixed together and intertwined. And then when you try to pull them out of the fry box, they sometimes break in half because it's like pulling out Christmas lights, you know. But when you do get, yes, they are phenomenal. So number four, steak fries. Yes, definitely. Oh, steak fries are so delicious. And those are good because they stick together. Number five, any other possible form of fry that's not crinkle cut. Number six, Crinkle Cuts. Keep up the good work with the podcast, JJ. Thank you very much. This is exactly what I was hoping for. Some hard hitting dialogue here. Perfect. You're not going to find talk like this on another podcast. You got to come to Ordinary Average Guy podcast show if you want to hear some legit, hard-hitting topics like fry rankings. I would love if someone else wrote in and gave me their rankings of anything. That would be phenomenal. That'd be cool. I'd love to talk about it. The Mount Rushmore fries. The Mount Rushmore fries would have waffle, curly, um, steak fries, and then you gotta like put. I'll be honest with you. Then you gotta put McDonald's fries, like McDonald's fries. I said it last week. I do not know what they're putting on McDonald's fries. Um, but they're it's like it's amazing. They're phenomenal. And I watched a YouTube video on how to make a McDonald's fry, and it's not the easiest thing in the world. I don't really know how they do it on those so skinny. They are they are phenomenal. I appreciate the emails. Again, you can find me at J-Kenn Ordinary Average Guy Podcast Show on Facebook, or email me at jkennoag@outlook.com. Uh, it's funny that Jerry sent me that email because my unpopular opinion this week. I don't know what it was this week. Was very like mindful this week of like the Roku and the Sharpie pen and all this stuff. But I had a craving for something that I haven't had in years. It's been years. When I was a little kid, it was like a delicacy, and I haven't, you know, not because every time I do it, everyone looks at me like, "Oh, what are you doing? Ugh, gross, disgusting." Ugh. So my unordinary opinion this week is potato chips with ketchup. Yes, potato chips with ketchup. I would love to know if any of my listeners ever do that. Get yourself a plate, put a handful of potato chips, a couple squirts of ketchup, and dip and eat. I did that this week, and my kids looked at me like, "Oh, Dad, what are you doing?" And I gave my MJ, and he's like, "Ooh, that's good." I'm like, "Hell yeah, it's good. It's like a fry. It's a potato chip. Fries are potatoes, chips are potatoes." So I don't know why stuff like that gets like people like my wife was like, "Oh, what are you doing? Oh God, you're so disgusting. You're so gross. Oh." And I was like, "Dude, this is phenomenal." So I would love to hear if any other people ever try the potato chips and ketchup, and also if you don't, give it a shot. Give it a shot. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Now you got to do just normal potato chips. I wouldn't do barbecue, flavored or um, oh, Lay's has side topic. Lay's dill pickle chips, dude. If you see those, pick them up. You're gonna if they're tasty. Now, I haven't had them in a while because I'm doing a little diet ski here, and I was good. I stepped on the scale in the morning and I was down weight. I'm like, oh, I have a little snack. I'm gonna have a little snacky poo. And I got some potato chips and ketchup, um, and I loved it. Another thing that this isn't the honorary opinion, but another thing that I do that was a delicacy when I was growing up that my wife thinks is weird and disgusting is cut up summer sausage. Okay, you cut up 6, 7 pieces of summer sausage, not too thick. You don't want it too thick. Um, Take a piece of paper towel, put it on a plate, put the sausage on the paper towel, put it in the microwave for I don't know, a minute maybe a little longer. But they get all shriveled up and everything, and then they're warm and they're shriveled up, and you eat it. Let me know what you think. That was another delicacy when I was growing up. I don't know, something my dad. Oh, Oh, another thing that was weird. I have two more things I'm going to keep talking about. And I want you guys to try these all because they're all really, really good. So, chips and ketchup, summer sausage in the microwave. The third one is I remember when I was a little kid, I saw my dad. He had a piece of white bread, which I don't eat white bread anymore because it's terrible for you. I eat whole wheat bread, with all sorts of grains and shit. But but I do love this. Take a piece of white bread, put some applesauce, and spread the applesauce on the piece of white bread, and enjoy. Um, if you never tried it, try it. There's something there's something about that applesauce on the bread. The applesauce hits the roof of your mouth, and then the bread is soft, and you have the warm room temperature bread on the bottom and the refrigerator temperature applesauce on top. It's just like a bunch of sensations in your mouth having sex. And it's just like an orgasm in your mouth. There, that could be a read. That could be a sponsor. This episode is sponsored by applesauce on your bread. Do you want an orgasm in your mouth? I think you do. Applesauce on bread. See, I'm awesome at this. That's another thing. That's another little treat that we did growing up. Now, this fourth thing, I don't know how I ever started this. Um, as far as I know, I'm the only person in the world that eats this sandwich. Um, my wife thinks it's disgusting. Everybody I've ever met thinks it's disgusting. But I really don't understand why. A sandwich that I don't know if my grandma made it for me once when I have no idea how this ever started, but it's my favorite sandwich of all time. You take two pieces of white bread and you take strawberry jam. Okay, I personally, I hope I don't get this wrong because I always get jam, jelly, and preserves. I always get them messed up, but I like um, jam because preserves have like the chunks still in it. Like you'll get the chunks of strawberry. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Jelly, um, it's hard to explain, but it's like jelly. I don't like that either. Jam to me is easier to spread on bread. It spreads really easily, and there is no chunks of strawberry in there. Like I've always said, the worst thing about strawberry shortcake is the strawberries. So anyway, what I take is I take a piece of white bread, two pieces of white bread, and you spread strawberry jam on there. And then you go back to my old dear friend summer sausage. And I cut up four pieces of summer sausage, and I put them in each four corners, slap them together, and you have yourself a summer sausage and jam sandwich. And I don't know if I invented this. I have no idea if I have no idea. I wish I could go into my brain and figure out the first time I ever had the sandwich, but it is my favorite sandwich of all time. And I think that I might be the only person in the world that has ever eaten that. But when I eat it in front of people, people look at me like that's the most disgusting thing I've ever saw in my life. But it's phenomenal. It's fantastic. You like bread, you like strawberry jam, you like summer sausage, put them together. Here's a thing for you. If you're listening to the show, every week I say this to email me and send me messages, but send me an email on something that you eat or like. No. Eat. It's got to be eat or drink. Something that you eat, something that you ingest that that nobody else would, you know, that nobody else does, you know, and let me know what that is, because I would love to, I actually really would love to read that and see who else has these weird little things that they eat. I'm not talking about like people that eat like drywall. You hear about that? People that eat like drywall and shit. You know, they eat like this one chick or whatever was pregnant or something, and she was craving bark from a tree bark. I mean, no offense to anyone out there that eats tree bark, but all right, that's a little out there, don't you think? It just seems a little weird. Um, but if there is something out there, I was gonna say something, you know, something, but that would be an unordinary opinion. But this is something. So let's be specific about that. This needs to be something that you eat or drink. It could be drink. Um, Speaking of eating and drinking, um, off topic again. I had a thought today. A coworker brought in donuts. You know, I keep talking about all this junk food and all this shit I've been doing. I am really doing good on my weight loss. I'm not joking here. I'm actually doing really well. I'm down like I want to say 12 pounds. I'm doing okay. But today was a bad day. Today was a bad day. A coworker had his birthday yesterday and he brought in these donuts and there's a bakery in northeast Wisconsin, here in the Fox Valley areas, there's a place called Manderfields. And if you're ever in the Appleton area, Fox Valley, highly recommend going to Manderfields and getting some donuts because there's all sorts of bakeries around here, dude. All sorts of bakeries around here that knock it out of the park. And but anyway, Manderfields, he brought in like 3 dozen donuts, and I tried to not eat one. I tried to not eat one. Ah, damn it, I had a donut, right? And then towards the end of the day, there was still one in the box. Gosh darn it, it wasn't, I shouldn't have done it, but I freaking had a second donut. And on the way home, I was so kind of pissed at myself that I did that. And I thought to myself, what I should do, and I don't know if this would be possible, but you know how when people, like, they turn 21 or whatever, and they have like 21 shots of something, and then they get sicker than hell, and then they can never drink the thing again, right? You know, like I think we all know someone that, oh, I don't drink vodka. I got drank too much vodka one night. I can't drink vodka anymore, right? I have an apple pucker. Apple pucker. Do they even make that anymore? Let me look this up here real quick. Apple pucker. So back in high school, yeah, it's still around. So back in high school, you could drink whatever you could get your hands on, right? And for some odd reason, one night I got my hands on some apple pucker, and I was sucking it down like it was water, and and I got all sorts of ill, all sorts of, and I freaking, and I don't. I'll be honest with you, I don't throw up a lot. I do, and I'm not bragging. Like I'm not saying that I can drink the under the table and I won't throw up. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't actually throw up a lot. Like even when I'm sick, I don't throw up. I hate throwing up so much. One time, I prayed to God. I said, "Please, God, please don't ever let me throw up." And I think He answered that prayer because I don't throw up a lot. I've been married to my wife 10 years or whatever, or we've been hanging out 10 years. Like we dated and then got engaged and then we got married, like 10 years, and she's only witnessed me throw up once in 10 years. I just don't throw up. But apple pucker made me frickin' toss my cookies, and ever since then, like even looking at the picture of it on my phone here, it's like, ugh, God. I'm just thankful that it hasn't ruined apples for me, like apple pie, for example. Um, the food, apple pie. But Apple, So anyway, what I'm getting at is I was thinking what I should do because I'm a sucker for sweets. Sweets are my kryptonite. What I should do, and I don't know if this would work or not, but I literally should go to Manderfield's Donuts. And anyway, this podcast is unofficially sponsored by Manderfield's Donuts. Um, or Manderfield's Bakery or whatever they're called. And I should just get like like a dozen donuts and eat them all, right? Just eat, eat, eat all these donuts, right? Eat every single one. And I should have like Skittles are another kryptonite for me, right? I should have like 5 bags of king size Skittles, and then um, oh, uh, peanut butter filled M&Ms, right? I get maybe like 5 bags of those, right? Eat them, and I should just, and then if I'm still hungry, I can eat like um, what's another kryptonite of mine? I'm not gonna eat apple pie because what I'm getting at is I'm gonna get deadly ill and throw up all over the place, and then my body will be like every time I see a donut, I'll be like, oh, 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 I can't do it. And then, I'll lose weight because sweets are my kryptonite. So, I don't know if I'm using the kryptonite thing correctly. I'm saying that when I see sweets, I can't resist. But I was thinking of doing that. And I was wondering if that would actually work. If I eat all this junk, I get sick, and then going forward, every time I see that junk food, I'll be like, I don't, I just feel disgusted, and I won't eat it. And then in return, I'll pay dividends because I will then get skinny because I will not eat junk food. So that's a thought I had on the way home today. Uh, it's a legit thought. That was a legit thought that went through my head. That is uh, that is this week's in the mind of J-Kenn. Um, so anyway, um, getting towards the end here, we're gonna end on song of the week, and I'll be honest with you, this was a really tough week for me for song of the week. Not because I couldn't think of any songs, but because I had like 4 of them, and and I picked one that I would never have picked. But before I get into that, as a guy who grew up basically in the late night, like I was in my prime, late '90s, early two, and then like late '90s through 2010, right? Like I was high school, college, um, 8th grade kind of deal, like when you really, all the fun stuff. As a kid who grew up in that era, it is unreal the music that's coming out right now. Like, dude, Linkin Park is back together. I'm not saying that I was like a huge Linkin Park fan, but there's like 5 or 6 Linkin Park songs that are on my playlist when I'm on the treadmill. Um, Linkin Park, Chester Bennington died 2017. That was 7 years ago that he died. Um, Killed himself. And you would think the band is done, but they're back together. They got this chick singer, Emily Armstrong, who I never heard of. I did some reading up on her, and of course, there's controversy. Of course, because that's the one thing I hate about the internet, dude. So this chick is like a Scientologist or whatever, which, ugh, oh boy, ugh, ugh. We've all watched those documentaries. But apparently, she's not really into it anymore. But then she's friends with that Danny Masterson from the '70s show. He's like doing life in prison for raping these chicks, and she must have went to like his court hearing because she was friends with him or something. But then I read that she like when she learned more about the case, she's like, I probably shouldn't have done that. Like people make mistakes. Can people just make a mistake? Do we live in a world where people just can't ever make a mistake? Is that the world we live in? God, just let her go. But anyway, long story short, I don't give a shit whose trial she went to. She's got a voice that will blow. I mean, dude, it's September 30th as I read this, as I'm saying this, and today the windows were down. I'm saying those windows were down so far, they were um, scratching the road, man. I had those things down as far as they could go, and I had that radio up extremely loud. The weather here is awesome. It's abnormally, it's what's the word that they say? It's unseasonable. Unseasonably warm, and I was cranking to some Linkin Park, the new stuff. And this chicken, dude, she can sing. She's got this growl for a voice when she needs to. And I wanted to, have like, fuck it. I'm gonna do like four songs of the week. so, so what? It's my podcast. I make the rules. Uh, um, Heavy is so you probably hearing a song called "The Emptiness Machine." Great song, cool song. Not on the list though. A song that I also discovered was "Heavy Is the Crown" by Linkin Park. Brand new on their new record, man. Check it out. Now I'm not gonna lie to you. The first I'm doing three songs. No, I'm doing four songs, and the first three I'm telling you the rock songs. All right, we're going rock today. Um, Linkin Park, new song came out. Heavy as the Crown. Check it out. Number two, and these were all bands back when I was growing up, right? So it's cool that these bands are back. And see, so next band is Seether. Now Seether, I guess they never went away, but I was always a fan of Seether, right? Even when I kind of went away from the whole like bang in my head rock, hard rock scene, I always appreciated Seether. Every time, there's a couple of bands that's like every time they come out with a new record, it just rocks for me personally. Okay, um, and Seether is one of those bands. Chevelle's another one of those bands when it comes to like hard rock bands. Chevelle is another one of those bands that they just they knock it out of the park every time. But anyway, Seether came out with a new song that I heard called Judas Mind. Judas Mind. And it's heavily riff driven. You know, like a riff when you play guitar, like I do. A riff is like a something like that riff, right? Whereas when you, so that's a riff, and I like songs that are riff driven. Um, instead of just playing chords or whatever, you're playing like doing some drop D, playing some power chords, shit like that. And so that's another song, Judas Mind by Seether. Awesome, awesome tune. Then um, another song dropped that is killer, and I am I'm a big fan of Jack White. Okay, I personally think that right now in the world today, Jack White is the coolest guy in rock and roll. Okay, that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. But anyway, Jack White came out with a new song called "That's That's How I Feel." It's called. How I feel is that Jack White's the coolest guy in rock and roll. He came out with a song called "That's How I Feel." Dude, it sounds like something from the early 2000s, right? It's cool. It's awesome. Um, Highly recommend you check that song out as well. Another thing I want to say was Sum 41 is back. Now that they have a couple songs, Dopamine and what the hell is the other one? Landmines. They're cool songs. They're not on the list here, but I just wanted to bring it up. I just think it's cool that these bands are back. And well, I guess Jack White never went away, and Seether never went away, but it's just cool seeing these bands still at least on the radio, either A coming back or B on the radio killing it. And Sum 41 they had a song called Fat Lip, which is literally on like my top 10 favorite songs of all time. So, in honor of Sum 41 being back, we're gonna throw Fat Lip on there. That was always a when that song it could be December 15th, dude. And if that song came on the radio, I'm rolling the window down. But but this week's official song of the week, I'm doing a complete 180 in honor of Chris Christopherson. Chris Christopherson passed away this week, um, and he was he's a country singer. And like I said, I'm not. the biggest country music fan. I nothing against it, just wasn't ever really my thing. But I have said many times I am a fan of good music, especially of good lyrics. And Chris Christopherson was a phenomenal lyricist. I watched this documentary back on it was like a Ken Burns documentary on country music. It came out like 5 years ago, I think, or something like that. And I watched the whole thing, and which reminds me, I should talk more about that Mr. McMahon. Next week, I'll talk more about that Mr. McMahon documentary if I have time. But anyway, I watched the country music, and they talk about Chris Christopherson, and the guy, he was just phenomenal when it came to writing. I mean, there's a lot of those old timers in the country. I mean, man, when you talk about good lyrics, really country music, it's. I hate to say it, I don't want to ruffle feathers, but it is kind of a shame that the country music nowadays is just so dumb. It's just like, what happened? I mean, even 20 years. I mean, I don't know, man. But anyway, Chris Christopherson had one particular song that always really kind of hit home to me, especially this weekend when I was mounting on those buffalo buffalo wings on Sunday morning. This official song of the week this week is "Sunday Morning Coming Down" by Chris Christopherson in memory of him. Um, Check that song out and listen to the words. It's a really it's just a cool song. It's a catchy song. I mean, it's not catchy, but I think it's cool how he wrote that song. And I don't want to sound like a loser, but it's kind of like, I guess it's kind of like poetry. I guess it's like really poetic. I don't know. It's really cool. I like it. That's about a guy, and he wakes up on a Sunday morning. He's all hung over, and talks about his life. And yeah, it's a cool song. So in honor of Chris Christopherson, Sunday Morning Coming Down, this week's official song of the week. Uh, Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Um, I will see you next week. Keep it real.